Interfaith Festival of Unity, and thank God we have been successful. I think this is going to be our 16th years. And we know that we are short in the number, but usually we get more people coming toward the end of the program. And it's a Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers who are here. And I want to thank our distinguished speakers that they made it possible on Father's Day to be here and be with us. I'm not worried about the Muslim speakers because they are fasting. They cannot have Father's Day before sunset, so that's not a problem with them. But with them, and actually, our Mormon representative was fasting too, yeah? Here we go, then we have really two problems. We cause problem for two. But you're not caught, you can do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. Brother Steve Gideon from the Latter-day Saint Jesus Christ, Church of Jesus Christ. And we know as a Mormon from this side, yeah, we used to have stairs in the house. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Second one is jihad, yeah? Oh, jihad? No. Rabbi Beria. No, you are. Rabbi Gavin. Jihad Berg. Just on time. Aziza Hassan. But the reason I'm only calling the name because I want them to introduce themselves the way they deserve. And Father Alexis Smith will be with us after 6 o'clock. Dr. Stanzai. Whoever sits in the back, we don't see. Okay, I think that our normal program usually starts with the speakers to introduce themselves, and they take a few minutes, as much as they want, to talk about their opinion about the interfaith and the reason that they are interested to be in this program. We start with Brother Gideon.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I'm Steve Gilliland. I'm the Director of Muslim Relations for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My wife and I serve together. She's Director of Interfaith Relations, so we do both together, and it's fun. We've been doing this for now about 11 years, and we've been blessed, truly blessed, especially our opportunities in serving with the Muslim community. We were very nervous when we were first called. We had never, we knew a few Muslims, but we didn't know anything else. And we'd been in the Middle East, and they called us, and we thought, that's a little scary. But we went out and started visiting, and people opened their hearts and opened their doors and have blessed our lives thoroughly. So we thank God that we have this opportunity to, and especially during Ramadan. This is about this will be about Iftar number 12 or 14 or something. I'm not sure which. We've been, almost every night we've been out and had the opportunity to be with a different Muslim community and enjoy the blessings. And we do fast. Judy started off fasting 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, I don't know. Judy started off, and I said, no way, can I fast. We, in the Mormon church, we fast once a month for 24 hours. But it's once a month. And it's a little longer, but it's spaced out a little bit more. So I said, no way. And then I just saw the wonderful glow that came over her, and especially our Muslim friends towards the end of Ramadan, where there is that wonderful spirit that's there. And not just the fasting, but people trying to be the best people they can be. And so I thought, I have to do this. So I've been doing it. And it's hard. It's really hard. This time of day, my blood sugar level is low, and I get quite droopy. But it's a blessing. It really is. I think that's all you need to know about me right at this point.
Hello, Shalom, Salam, Ramadan Mubarak. My name is Chaim Dov Belyak. I'm a rabbi, and I've been coming to be here at the IMAN Center for a number of occasions. I want to remark about certainly the seriousness of this spiritual time, but I also want to congratulate everyone on the beautiful photos that grace the wall. I love these pictures, and someday I expect that we're going to take a trip to Iran and come back. And I'll be able to see these sites with being right up close and enjoy them. I work for a Jewish-sponsored hospice. Hospice care is an invention that we have to credit our British colleagues for. It is an attempt to care for people at the end stage of life. And so I spend a good part of my time working with people who are doing life reviews, reflecting on the meaning of life, writing what we call in Jewish tradition ethical wills. This is where we invite people to think seriously about what are the ethics and the ways of life that they wish to transmit to their progeny. And then, of course, I do a good bit of sitting with people and families. It is a profoundly holy work, and I feel very privileged to do it. The other part of my work is that I work in Poland with a renewed Jewish community, and we are very proud of what has happened in the last 7-8 years in Poland in the Jewish community. We have the problems of growth. We now have 5 rabbinic students who are in process of becoming rabbis. In fact, one of them might end up going to Rabbi Mel Gottlieb's school if he offers them the right scholarship. And we are very proud of the fact that there are young people who are seeking to help renew the Polish Jewish community, which at one time was thought to be infinitesimal and probably is much larger than we thought, and certainly much smaller than it was at another historical time. I'm the father of 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and that to me is the focus of my efforts these days. And at an appropriate time when you ask the right question, I'll tell you about what geniuses my grandchildren are. Thank you. Thank you very much. You unplug yourself.
So I have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. So He has more grandchildren than I have more children. Rabbi
I
Billy
need to get busy.
used to be a congregant of mine, so I know his whole family, and it's beautiful to sit next to him and to my dear friend Jihad, where we're partners together to build a school where each of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, would be able to study about the other religions, so we could discover that the essence of all religions are really the same: to love God, to love other human beings, to be godlike in the world, to greet people with a smile, so people could see the light of God within us, and we all then march together to create a better world. But sometimes we live at times when that light becomes hidden. Part of it because we don't do the work necessary on a daily basis to connect to God. Muslims pray 5 times a day, Jews 3 times a day, Christians probably all the time. But when we don't, when we just get caught up in our material being as the source of joy, or our anxieties and fears, where we block out the beautiful light that's always here, then we get off course. So it's so beautiful when we come together as religious communities and remind ourselves that we're people of faith. You know, in the Jewish tradition, the word shalom, which is the same as salam, the root of the word means wholeness, wholeness. It also means hello, and it also means goodbye. So only if you're whole, if you're conscious, if you're committed to see beauty in the world, can you truly say hello to somebody else. You're open all the time. And only if you're whole can you also say goodbye to somebody, to be able to separate. Otherwise you cling and you're needy. So we have to search for wholeness. You know, in every tradition we study the texts. You study the Quran, we study the Torah. This week, we study every week the Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is extremely interesting. It's about a story about 12 scouts that were given the charge by God and that Moses needed to appoint 12 leaders of the tribes to go spy out the land of Israel, to see if it's a land that can be conquered. What is this land like? 10 of the spies came back with an evil report and said, we'll never be able to conquer the land. There are giants there. We're like grasshoppers in their eyes. They have cities with big walls. We'll never be able to conquer them. Whereas Joshua and Caleb came back with a good report. They said, this is a land of milk and honey. This is a land that's blessed. If God told us to come there, it must be beautiful. So our sages teach. We see they all saw the same land, but they came up with different conclusions. Because when we see things from a place of fear or a place of judgment, we only see darkness. We can't perceive. Only if we have faith and we live with God and we know that God wants the best for us, and when God gives us commandments to do, it's to uplift the world and to learn to love other people, then we can see the beauty of the land. But only if we're conscious and aware of our inner anxieties can we become free from them. You know why the 10 spies didn't see anything good? Because they were princes, they were leaders of the people, and they felt that if they go into the land, they would have to give up their rulership, their power positions. So they said, no, we shouldn't go into the land. It's bad. They weren't conscious of their fears and their other motivations. So each of us have to do the work to lift ourselves up to faith, to overcome our fears, to work with love and create peace and justice in the world, getting to know each other, holding hands together, working as a whole community, and one day we'll see the promised land the way it really is. It's all around us every moment. Beauty lifts us up to God. We'll see the beauty with our eyes. I'll end here. The rabbis ask, why did God give us 2 eyes? After all, we have 1 nose, 1 mouth. Why 2 eyes? So the sages say God gave us a strong eye to see all the beautiful things in the world and a weak eye to overlook all the negative things in the world. So let us march together with love and create this beautiful world filled with beauty. Amen.
Before Jihad talks, I think one of the miracles of Iman is to have two rabbis next to each other.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Almost. Shab bikhair. Almost. My name is Jihad Turk, and I grew up to a mother who is Christian from Oklahoma, hence the name Jihad. No. And a father who's from Jerusalem. He was born in Palestine in 1938 and moved to the United States when he was a teenager. To California, to a small city called Merced, California. Met my mother, got married, moved to Arizona where I was born and raised. So I grew up in an interfaith household. What was interesting is, growing up, I probably knew more that I was Palestinian than I knew that I was Muslim. And my father, although he prayed, he didn't have a lot to pass on to me by way of the faith. What was the foundation of faith in Islam for him? And so it wasn't really till I was a teenager that I began to embark upon my spiritual journey. And I explored both my Christian and Muslim roots in asking the big questions in life. What's life all about? What's the source of peace and inner peace and tranquility? What's the purpose? What do we want to achieve before we pass from this earth? And maybe I was younger than most who began asking those big questions, in part because my parents were divorcing. So here I was experiencing transition at that time in my life, and instead of running away from the big questions, I tackled them head on, which led me on a journey traveling around the world. I went to study Arabic in Medina, Saudi Arabia, to learn the language of the Quran. And then, while in college also, I went to this country called Iran. You might have heard of it. And I learned Farsi there, which is one of the most beautiful languages in the world, very poetic language. And also learned the language not only of poetry in general, but of Rumi, who was a Sufi poet. And I found in my journeys some initial answers that intrigued me to learn more. And as I was continuing on this journey and studying the faith of Islam, I learned the importance of interfaith dialogue. For the Quran teaches us that it is God's will that there be diversity, not just in terms of ethnicity and race, but in terms of theology. That God says in multiple places in the Quran that if God is all powerful, if he would have willed it, he could have made everyone one people, of one creed. But it was his will that there be diversity. But then what is interesting, my time up already? But then what is interesting is that the commandment that follows answers the question as to what is for me it's an inspiration. I think answers the question why engage in interfaith relations. The commandment that follows this pronouncement that it's God's will that there be diversity is an instruction. It's a commandment that simply says, so strive as if in a race to do virtue with one another across the different divisions. In the end, you will all return to God, and He will tell you about the differences that you have. In the Arabic, it reads, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Strive as if in a race in doing virtue. In other words, yes, we have some different ideas about both understanding God and how to approach God. But there's a lot of common ground there between us. And if we give it our best effort to, instead of fighting about the minute differences and the technical differences, but rather focus instead on the overlapping common ground, which is vast, then we have enough space on that ground to build a more beautiful future together. And so that's what inspires me to participate here at IMAN. I'm always very honored because IMAN, I think, carries that spirit in everything that they do, every program that they put on, and in the incredible guests that come and speak to the community. So thank you for inviting me and including me in this panel, and also congratulations for the great work that you're doing every day here at IMAN.
Do you want to talk about what you're doing? Your
Well,
day job?
So I'll add one more thing, and this is kind of a neat story, and Mel alluded to it. So I was serving as the imam or religious director at the Islamic Center of Southern California, the first mosque here in LA, even before IMAN. What year did you guys what year were you founded? 1996.
But
So,
the 1989 Vista.
so in 1989, IMAN was started. The Islamic Center of Southern California was founded in 1952. So it was the first mosque in all of Southern California. And in 2005, they hired me to serve as the religious director, and I was doing my doctoral degree at UCLA at the time in Islamic studies, having done my world travels, done my undergrad at Berkeley in Islamic history and Arabic, and Islamic law for my master's degree in Texas. I came out here in 1999 to do my doctoral degree at UCLA. So I was pursuing my graduate work, teaching as adjunct at UCLA and at a law school. And the Islamic Center said, we want you to serve as our imam. I said, I have a different trajectory. I'm an academic, going into academia, teaching, universities, all of that. They said, yeah, that's great and all. You can continue doing that, but we also want you to serve in this capacity. So I considered it, and I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I found it very rewarding. And I had been doing it for several years. In 2009, 4 years, 5 years later, I was approached by the president of a Christian, 130-year-old Christian seminary, who said, we have a vision to reinvigorate this historic institution, to attract more students and to make Christianity relevant. And I need your help. And I said, how can I help you? What's your vision? He said, our vision is to desegregate theological education. In other words, we want to have Christians learn about Christianity, Jews learn about Judaism, Muslims learn about Islam, but then also come together so that they learn about each other's faith from their respective scholars and develop the skill set on how to cooperate and collaborate for the common good. I said, wow, that's a beautiful vision. How can I help? He said, I want help in partnering with an Islamic seminary, an accredited Islamic graduate school, to be part of this effort. And I said, well, that's easy. There doesn't exist any Islamic graduate seminary in all of the United States, but we need one. So I got the Islamic Center behind the effort and some other Muslim communities, and we launched Bayan Claremont Islamic Graduate School, and we announced it in 2010. Our first students entered, 3 students in 2011. We train American Muslim imams, youth directors, Islamic school principals and teachers, and chaplains, Muslim chaplains. We started with 3 students in 2011, and we're expecting to have over 80 students this coming fall. And our students are going on to become not just imams and youth directors and executive directors of nonprofits and principals and teachers, etc., chaplains, but they're incredible social entrepreneurs, change leaders who are making a big difference in their communities. So, and part of that is because they develop their relationships with the Jewish and Christian and other communities that help propel them to be meaningful in the work that they do and give young people a sense of purpose and a sense that they're contributing to the greater good. So it's been fantastic to work with the Academy for Jewish Religion, with Mel Gottlieb, and the Claremont School of Theology, which is our host institution. I thank you for giving me the chance to highlight that. It's really exciting to be, I'm heading it up as the founding president and dean and janitor. It's a small operation, but we have fantastic faculty from all over.
He's the dean of this school.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Dr. Stanza.
My name is Zaman Stanizai. I'm a human being by design, a Muslim by default, an American by accent. Accent? Accident. We'll put a dent in that too. By accident, I think accent too. I teach and nobody learns. I write and nobody reads it. And I write poetry that's so confusing that even I myself don't understand what it means. But from time to time I get compliments and I have a really closer look at the person who is saying all those wonderful things. And I feel like, oh really? I mean, how come I didn't figure that out? But anyways, I don't know if I introduce myself any further, I might be risking my position here, but I don't have a religion, but I love God. I don't believe in sectarianism, as they say in Farsi. I can throw that in here. با دین لا مذهب هستم و با خدای بی دین. Speaking of not having a religion is because as we were talking about the concept of diversity, there's a funny thing going on with all religions. God creates diversity, God creates difference. We humans want to do the exact opposite. We want them to say, look, if you believe in God, then you better believe like me, and if you don't, you go to hell. Okay? We want them to be the same, or at least similar, and not different. Whereas God wants everything to be different. When we believe in a religion, we believe in a religion as the only religion. Those other religions, yeah, they are okay, they are there, but you know, we'll pay some lip service and we'll be polite and all that. But the real thing is that the only religion that matters is the one that I believe in. And in that vein, I think we were here a year ago, probably off by a day. If I remember correctly, it was June 19th. And one of the objections I raised was like, why only the Abrahamic religions? Because if we believe in humanity, if we believe in the universality of a God, and my definition of God is the cosmic totality of a wholeness. My God doesn't have a name, it doesn't have form, it doesn't have personality, it doesn't have a social security number, or any of that stuff. My God is not a person. My God is a field of energy that permeates through every single speck of dust in the cosmos. So when I say God is greater, it's greater than anything you can perceive, anything that I can perceive. My God cannot be contained in the power of reason, no matter how smart I am. My God cannot be contained in the vessel of love, no matter how big my heart is. So for that God to be a perceived reality, it has to be beyond any borders and any boundaries. And it's because of that as much as I like the Abrahamic faiths, I hope that next year this time, whether any and all of us are here or not, that our circle has expanded to have peoples of other faith, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism, and other isms, not the ideological ones, of course. And so in that case, we could feel the universality in the sense that we are not slaves to our perception, that we are not encapsulated in what we say, because sometimes we say things that we probably don't mean, but then we get married to what we say, and then we start believing it, and in essence we believe ourselves instead of believing that universality. And therefore, if I had to look for God, like Rabbi Gottlieb said, that there is a question of having eyes. I rather see God with one eye. And it's not the eyes in the head, it's the eye in the heart. And when you are looking for God through the eye of the heart, you don't have to look outside of yourself. You have to look within yourself. And then all of a sudden you realize that the God you were looking for all this time was there within you all the time. And I think that's all the time I have.
I think that was a great idea about you.